Well, Nashville, like other cities, Nashville, like other cities, um, many of the people who are many of the public officials in Nashville, and not just Nashville, but other cities, you're taught that the main driving force for governance is economic development. And part of that is there's a lot of debates in the municipal government literature, pro or con. But if you're for that, part of that is that you have to give as much incentives to the private sector, whether it be tax abatements or money or land swaps, or to encourage large scale businesses and companies to move to your city to build out the economy of the city, and that can trickle down. I'm not a fan of that approach, but that is an approach that a lot of folks that are going through graduate school and getting degrees and MBA degrees, or getting degrees in city management, or getting degrees in public administration, learn. There's an alternative approach around equity and putting people over profits and the whole range of things.
All right.
But with that as a backdrop, if you look at Nashville, pre-2010, it was a different city. Right. But since 2010, we've had a convention center that has, to the cost of $600+ million, we've had a number of hotels. Where we sit in downtown Nashville, we're in an area where the investment in this area is probably the biggest.
You're right, for sure.
And that investment could be in terms of incentives, land, I think from my perspective, the manipulation of tax increment finance districts or redevelopment districts. And then the argument is that would allow Nashville, if you believe in that, the argument was to modernize, where Nashville as a city, you could have what's called a Manhattanization of Nashville, where the Nashville downtown sector modernizes and is attractive to newcomers, and also to the problem with that, to your point, is that and the problem that has been, but it's not just Nashville, it's other cities, is that if you invest so much resources and so much infrastructure, so much in economic development, you have to pay for it.
Right.
You have to pay for it. And if you were here pre-2010 or pre-2000, if you look if you went north, you had North Nashville, primarily working class blacks. If you went even south pre-2000, you had large swaths of South Nashville where black folks were there for decades. You had, of course, East Nashville, and even going west, we had historically somewhat working class communities in the nations. And so the challenge is, from the standpoint of elite brokers, decision makers, is those people can't pay for it.
Right.
They can't pay for billions of dollars of worth of investment. To pay for it, you need a middle class tax base.
Right.
You need a middle tax base that can pay for entertainment,
right,
that can pay for the fees and other costs that's required, parking,
right,
and you need a constant supply of tourists, right, to help pay the revenue of hotel taxes and so forth. So what that means then for many of the people that you probably went to high school with,
right,
is that them and their families don't fit that criteria of a tax base. And that means that, and then you also have, really in Nashville, historically unregulated a set of both formal and informal policies of how you buy houses, who you purchase houses from. If you're a renter, the landlord can sell a house. And so you find these communities that had large number of renters, yet older residents that were leaving or dying off. Those neighborhoods are turned over, and what you have is a middle class tax base in tourism. And what that's meant is that you've had a hard time finding affordable housing. You've had massive, almost wholesale displacement. And you've had retail displacement. You've had, in one community, you've had one house here, one house here, one house here, one house here, like your retail shopping. Yeah. But you've had wholesale displacement in Germantown.
Yeah.
Germantown, for example. So you've had two forms of displacement, all of which are bringing in these tax bases that could pay for this mega development that we've seen. And that's been very damaging to everyday people.
Right.
They're very damaging to long-time restaurants, working class musicians. Black folks, like have been maybe the hardest hit. And that means that the urban core is being gutted out. And people are having to find places to go to that are outside of the urban core.